So having decided to become a monk, I consulted a few monks about the matter. I asked them what they think. Then they said, well, yes, but they asked about how long more do I have before I finish my studies, and I said, well, it's about maybe a few months more, 6 months. So they said, oh, and finish it off. So I agreed. And but when I finished my studies, well, before then, my father came and see me and asked that I join his new company, and I didn't like that. I didn't like that at all. But at the same time, he was like so enthusiastic over it. I just didn't have the heart to tell him that I was interested. I tried to sort of show that I wasn't interested, but
how?
I think he saw that, but he didn't really care. He pretended not to see it. That's my feeling. I don't know if that was the case. That was my feeling. So I felt that as a son who have basically depended on him for more than 20 years, to abandon him like that when he is so enthusiastic over his new project, that didn't seem so right. So I decided to, well, just help him for a while. Then when it's I think it's appropriate, then I leave. So after I finished my exams, I went home. I went to his office for a week, and at the end of the week, I was talking to my mom at home, and she was asking me, "So how do you find about the job?" I said I wasn't happy, and I said I'd rather do something else. And she got excited over it and said, "So what do you want to do?" All right. And I said, "Well, maybe you're not ready to hear that." And she said, "Well, why not? Tell me, what do you want to do?" Well, I want to become a monk. And she kept quiet. There was like silence for a while. And she questioned me about it. "Oh, why do you want to become a monk?" So I explained why I wanted to become a monk, and she said, "Well, why can't you stay as a lay person, and you still could go for meditation retreats, and you could still do a whole lot of things as a lay person?" I said, "Yeah, that's true, but it's not good enough for me. I wanted more. It's something that I would like. Something that's how I would like to live my life." Well, she asked a few more questions, and I answered her questions as nicely as I can. Then she just went really, really quiet. Then she started to cry. Well, it's kind of difficult to see your own mother cry, and in particular if it was prompted by yourself, So I felt the pain inside then, and at the same time, I rather that she rather not suffer over that. But there's really nothing I could do, and I tried to touch her, but she just pushed me away, and she went to her room. And I said, "Okay, well, we'll just not talk about this anymore, right? Just lay this aside." Right? Then my father came back. He came back late, and I knew he came back, but I just pretended to not notice. And the next day, well, of course, he found out about it, and he said, "Why did you make your mom cry?" Well, I said, "Well, let's not talk about it anymore, right? Let's just leave this thing aside." So that was it for some while, and then along the way, I mean, at certain times I felt that there were certain situations that I kind of could make use of to say that, well, it's really not so great living as a lay person, there's something better, without saying exactly what it is. So it took about 1.5 years of that until a point, well, I was kind of lucky in one sense because the business started in 1997. That's when the economic crash came in. So the business didn't work out, right? So about 1.5 years after that, my mom I was talking with my mom again, one afternoon, I believe, one Saturday afternoon, and it felt like the right time. It felt like it was the right weather, the temperature was right, the mood was right, everything was right, and so it seemed like the right time to ask again. So I told my mom, well, I could live on as a lay person, I could do that, but when I get old and when I come to the end of my life, I would regret not having lived the way I wanted. So she said, if you don't like being a lay person, you don't like to live don't like to live a lay life anymore, then I shouldn't stop you. So I took that as permission for me to go, and I said thank you. I said thank you, and she said something that I'll always remember. She said, well, although I let you go with a heavy heart.